There's a question that sits quietly in the back of your mind. You don't ask it every day, but it's always there. What am I supposed to be doing with my life? Not in the practical sense, like what career to choose or where to live, but in the deeper sense. What's my purpose? It's one of the oldest questions humans have asked. And somehow, despite thousands of years of philosophy, religion, and self-help books, we still don't have a clear answer. Maybe because there isn't one. Or maybe because the question itself is wrong. For most of human history, purpose wasn't something you searched for. It was given to you. You were born into a family, a community, a role. If your father was a farmer, you became a farmer. If your mother was a weaver, you learned to weave. Your purpose was survival, and survival meant fulfilling your role. There was no existential crisis about finding yourself. You didn't have time for it. Then society changed. The Industrial Revolution gave us options. The Enlightenment gave us individual rights. Modernity gave us freedom. And suddenly, purpose wasn't handed to you anymore. You had to find it. Which sounds liberating, until you realize how overwhelming that freedom actually is. Psychologist Barry Schwartz calls this the paradox of choice. The more options we have, the harder it becomes to choose. And the more we wonder if we chose wrong. You could be a doctor, a teacher, an artist, an entrepreneur. You could live in the city, the countryside, another country entirely. You could dedicate your life to helping others, to creating beauty, to seeking knowledge, to raising a family. And whichever path you choose, there's a voice in your head asking, but what if I chose differently? What if my real purpose is somewhere else? This anxiety about purpose is uniquely modern. Our ancestors didn't have it because they didn't have the luxury of choice. But we do. And instead of making us happier, it's made us more uncertain. In the 1940s, psychiatrist Viktor Frankl was imprisoned in Nazi concentration camps. He watched people around him give up and die, not from starvation or disease, but from losing the will to live. And he noticed something. The people who survived weren't necessarily the strongest or the healthiest. They were the ones who had a reason to keep going. A purpose. Frankl wrote about this in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. He argued that the primary human drive isn't pleasure or power. It's the need for meaning, for purpose. And when people lose that, they lose everything. But here's the paradox. Frankl didn't say purpose is something you find. He said it's something you create. Not by asking what you want from life, but by asking what life wants from you. What are you responsible for? What needs you? Because purpose isn't about you. It's about what you contribute. And maybe that's why the search for purpose feels so frustrating. We are looking inward when we should be looking outward. We are asking what will make me happy, when the real question is what can I give? Philosopher Simone de Beauvoir wrote that we are not born with a purpose. We become our purpose through action, through choosing, committing, building. Your purpose isn't waiting to be discovered like a treasure buried in the ground. It's constructed, piece by piece, through the choices you make and the things you care about. And that's both terrifying and freeing. Terrifying because there's no map, no guarantee you're doing it right, but freeing because it means your purpose can change. It can evolve as you do. So if purpose isn't something you find, but something you build, then where do you start? Maybe with the smallest thing. Not a grand mission or a calling from the universe. Just something that matters to you today. A person you care about. A problem you want to solve. A skill you want to develop. Purpose doesn't have to be monumental to be real. It doesn't have to change the world to change your world. Some people find purpose in raising their children. Others find it in their work, in creating something that didn't exist before. Some find it in helping strangers, in teaching, in healing, in building. And some find it in the quiet act of showing up every day, even when it's hard. There's no hierarchy of purpose. No one's purpose is more important than another's. Because purpose isn't measured by scale. It's measured by commitment. By whether it gives your life direction, even when the path is unclear. The Japanese have a concept called ikigai. It roughly translates to a reason for being. It's the intersection of four things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be rewarded for. It sounds simple, but most people never find all four. And maybe that's okay. Maybe purpose isn't about perfection. Maybe it's about alignment. About moving in a direction that feels right, even if you don't know where it leads. Psychologist Angela Duckworth studied high achievers across different fields: athletes, artists, scientists, entrepreneurs. And she found that talent wasn't the deciding factor in success. It was grit, the ability to stay committed to a long-term goal, even through failure and doubt. But grit isn't just stubbornness. It's sustained by purpose, by believing that what you're doing matters. And when you lose that belief, grit disappears. So maybe the real question isn't what is my purpose? Maybe it's what am I willing to commit to, even when it's hard? What am I willing to keep doing, even when no one notices? Because purpose isn't always loud. It doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's just the quiet certainty that you're doing something worth doing. And maybe that's enough. You wake up, you make choices, you contribute in small ways. You help someone, you create something, you show up. And over time, those small acts accumulate into something larger. A life that meant something. Not because it was perfect, but because it was lived with intention. The search for purpose never really ends. It's not a destination you arrive at and then stop. It's a process, a continuous act of choosing what matters and committing to it. And when you lose sight of it, which you will, you start again. You ask the question again. What needs me right now? What can I give? And you build from there. Because in the end, purpose isn't about finding the answer. It's about living the question. And maybe that's the point. Not to have it all figured out, but to keep searching anyway. To keep building, keep contributing, keep showing up. Because in a world that doesn't hand you a purpose, the act of creating one is itself an act of defiance. A way of saying that your life, your choices, your contributions matter, even if only to you. And maybe especially if only to you.